There is also an opinion that Azazel is a demon residing in the desert, according to the CEV Bible footnote. Scapegoat is a commonly used term that defines someone being punished for the mistakes of others. In this case, Ishmael is a perfect example of this scapegoat. He is a victim of the mistakes and misconduct of others. He is the one being punished for the faults of others. He is the one paying the price, released into the wilderness because of the wrongdoing of others. In this context, Ishmael is indeed the scapegoat.
And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord, and the other lot for the scapegoat. Leviticus 16:8.
The Hebrew word Azazel is associated with the ritual of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and is not found elsewhere in the Bible. Etymologically, it is believed to come from ez, meaning goat, and the verb azal, meaning to go away or to be sent away. So, Azazel can be understood as the goat sent away. Some translators consider Azazel to be a name, possibly as a way to depict it as an opposing force to the Lord YHVH. However, if Azazel referred to a well-known evil spirit in the desert or a name for Satan, it's peculiar that it only appears here in the entire Bible. There's also the suggestion that Azazel could be a demon residing in the desert, according to the CEV Bible footnote. But it's hard to reconcile why the first goat is offered to the Lord while the second is sent a demon. The most plausible interpretation, based on the etymology, is that Azazel refers to the goat itself, as indicated by its name meaning the goat sent away. This goat was indeed released into the wilderness of Judah on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, annually after being brought there from the Jerusalem temple. As for the Septuagint translation, it's an ancient Greek translation of the Hebrew scriptures. It would be interesting to compare how Leviticus 16:8 is translated in the Septuagint to see if it sheds any additional light on the meaning.
And Aaron shall place lots upon the 2 young male goats, one lot for the Lord, and one lot for the scapegoat apopompai.
The Septuagint uses the term apopompai, which is a combination of the preposition apo, meaning out away from, and the verb pempa, meaning to send something to another place. Therefore, the Septuagint supports the idea that Azazel is intended for the scapegoat. So, who is the goat that is sent away? Azazel, which means the goat that is sent away. It is, in fact, an allegory for Abraham's son, Ishmael. Yom Kippur is a holiday that commemorates Abraham, who faced 2 tests. The first was when God instructed him to follow Sarah's wish and send Hagar and Ishmael away. The second test was the Akad at Yitzchak, where he offered his remaining son, Isaac, and passed both tests. William Tyndale, 1494 to 1536, an English scholar who translated the Bible into English, was the first to translate directly from Hebrew and Greek texts. He used the term scapegoat, which combines escape and goat, for the Hebrew word Azazel. As mentioned earlier, Azazel means the goat that is sent away or the escape goat. So, the original meaning of scapegoat is indeed the escape goat or the goat that escapes, as intended in Leviticus 16. However, its definition later shifted, becoming more misleading and referring to someone unfairly blamed or made to bear the blame. This shift in meaning deviated from William Tyndale's original intent. Scapegoat originally referred to the live goat sent into the wilderness while the other goat was sacrificed as the sin offering. The mystery behind the use of 2 male goats and the reading of Leviticus chapter 16 during every Yom Kippur celebration stems from the dual symbolism of atonement and the removal of sins. One goat represents the atonement sacrifice, while the other, the scapegoat, symbolizes the removal or bearing away of the people's sins into the wilderness. Leviticus 16, 7-8 describes how the two goats were chosen by casting lots, one for the Lord and one for Azazel. We can see two allegorical connections here. One in Genesis chapters 21-22, which speaks of Abraham's two sons, and the other in Leviticus chapter 16, which involves two male goats for sacrifice. Notice that it's not just one. This clearly indicates the presence of two sacrifices in God's plan. There's one male goat sent away, which is an allegory of Sarah's anger, leading to Ishmael being sent away from Abraham's house into the wilderness. The second sacrifice is the male goat offered as a burnt offering, an allegory of Isaac. You see, hasn't Abraham sacrificed both his sons in his lifetime? Both were incredibly challenging trials. Our Bible is full of typology and allegory, and before its fulfillment, it always speaks of blood for the forgiveness of sins. This theme runs throughout the Old Testament until its fulfillment in Christ on the cross. Also, note the parallel between Genesis chapters 21 and 22 in their narrative similarity. Both events are marked by the presence of the angel of the Lord, angel of God, and in both instances, God reaffirms his promise regarding Abraham's descendants becoming a great nation. The promise to Ishmael, a great multitude of descendants.
Eyes, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand. For I will make him a great nation. Genesis 21:18.
The promise to Isaac, a multitude of descendants and covenant heir, a blessing to the nations.
That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. Genesis 22:17.
These are the sacrifices of Abraham's sons, allegorically depicted in Leviticus 16, commemorated every Yom Kippur, one as the scapegoat allegory of Ishmael, and the other as the goat offered for the forgiveness of sins allegory of Isaac. In this case, Ishmael is a perfect example of this scapegoat. He is a victim of the mistakes and misconduct of others. He is the one being punished for the faults of others. He is the one paying the price, released into the wilderness because of the wrongdoing of others. In this context, Ishmael is indeed the scapegoat,